To test the olfactory nerve, I will have Gabrielle smell this item and see if she can identify what the item is, because the olfactory nerve is responsible for our sense of smell.
Oh, that's coffee.
So the test was positive and Gabrielle's olfactory nerve is working because she was able to identify that the smell is coffee. To test the optic nerve, I will have Gabrielle read the eye chart to see how many letters she can read, because the optic nerve is responsible for our sense of vision. So cover one eye. Okay. E, F, P, T, O, Z, L, P, E. Perfect. So the optic nerve is working and the test was positive because Gabrielle could read the letters on the eye chart. To test the oculomotor nerve, I will use a flashlight to look at the diameter of Gabrielle's pupils to see if they are dilating and constricting, because the oculomotor nerve is in charge of the dilating and constricting of the pupils. They get so tiny. Okay, they got bigger. No, you're good. So the oculomotor nerve test was positive in Gabrielle's eyes. Her pupils dilated and constricted with the flashlight. To test the trochlear nerve, I will use my pointer finger to determine whether Gabrielle can move her eyes up and down. And this is because the trochlear nerve affects the movement of your eyes. So just hold your head still and follow my finger. Okay. So the trochlear nerve test was positive because Gabrielle was able to move her eyes up and down without moving her head. In order to test the abducen nerve, I will have Gabrielle follow my eyes to the left and to the right without moving her head, because the abducens nerve affects the movement of her eyes to the left and to the right. This test was positive because Gabrielle was able to move her eyes to the left and to the right, and her abducens nerve is working. To test the trigeminal motor nerve, I will have Gabrielle open and close her jaw as if she's chewing on a piece of gum, because the trigeminal motor nerve affects the movement of your jaw. The test was positive and Gabrielle's trigeminal motor nerve is working because she was able to open and close her jaw as if she's chewing on a piece of gum. To test the trigeminal sensory nerve, I will touch Gabrielle's face with a Kleenex to see if she can sense the light touch on her face, because the trigeminal sensory nerve affects the feeling of this face.
Yep.
Can you feel it?
Mm-hmm.
So the trigeminal sensory nerve test was positive because she was able to sense the touch on her face, and her trigeminal nerve is working. To test the facial motor nerve, I will have Gabrielle smile because the facial motor nerves are in charge of the movement of the facial muscles. The facial motor nerve test was positive and Gabrielle's facial motor nerve is working because she was able to smile and move her muscles of her face. To test the facial sensory nerve, I will have Gabrielle taste the salt water with the tip of her tongue because the facial sensory nerve affects the taste on the tip of your tongue. Did you taste it?
Yep.
So the test was positive because she was able to taste the salt in the salt water and her facial sensory nerves are working. To test the vestibulocochlear nerve, I will continuously walk further away from Gabrielle while listening to a clock ticking because the vestibulocochlear nerve is in charge of our sense of hearing. So just tell me when you can't hear it anymore.
Okay. I can't hear it.
So the vestibulocochlear nerve test was positive and her vestibulocochlear nerve is working because she was able to hear the clock ticking for a great distance. To test the glossopharyngeal nerve, I will have Gabrielle drink this sugar water to see if she can taste it on the back of her tongue, because the glossopharyngeal nerve is responsible for taste on the back of your tongue. Did you taste it?
Yep. That's
Good.
sweet.
So the glossopharyngeal nerve is working and the test is positive because she was able to taste the sugar water on the back of her tongue. To test the vagus nerve, I will observe Gabrielle drinking some of this glass of water because the vagus nerve is responsible for the swallowing reflexes. So the vagus nerve is working and the test was positive because I could observe Gabrielle's swallowing reflexes. To test the accessory nerve, I will have Gabrielle shake her head as if she's saying no and then shrug her shoulders because the accessory nerve is responsible for movement in certain neck muscles. So the accessory nerve is working and the test was positive because she was able to move those certain neck muscles. To test the hypoglossal nerve, I will have Gabrielle stick out her tongue and move it from side to side because the hypoglossal nerve is responsible for movement of the tongue. The test was positive and Gabrielle's hypoglossal nerve is working because she was able to move her tongue from side to side.